Good day, good day. I am back here to make some commentary. I wanted to strike while the iron is hot because there are so many different commentary that I want to share that I've made note of and simply put away, and I haven't gotten to it. And so now I just want to put this out while it is fresh. I wanted to make an observation on based on a video that came up on my feed, and I have a few different videos over the past couple of months that came up on my feed, on different celebrities and on different public figures that are part of the commentaries that I wanted to make. But again, we are talking about the one and only himself, Chris Brown. And this is based on the video called The Cult of Chris Brown Exposed, done by the channel Lexus Exodus. I just started watching it and I'm halfway through the video now. And of course, I had to immediately go and look up his chart. And right off the bat, I can see why it all is. So in the video, she went through all of the different altercations that he's gotten himself into, all of these different fights, along with videos, all this stuff I never even heard of. And it was pretty jarring. Like there's the main one with Rihanna that came out way over a decade ago, and as well as some of the ones following with Karuchi as well, and all of the other ones from the in-between. So yes, looking at his birth chart, first thing I see is his Mars conjunct Chiron in Cancer, making an opposition to Uranus in Capricorn, and his Sun and Moon in Taurus, making an opposition to Pluto in Scorpio. Right off the bat, I would not want to be in a room with an individual with this configuration. I wouldn't want to be in an open space. I wouldn't want to be across the street. Simply because of the volatile nature. And it's not a laughing matter. In all seriousness, it's just the way that immediately it speaks to the violent tendencies. And we see with the Mars conjunct Chiron in Cancer, he's someone that can be that can be easily triggered. You know, there are a lot of things that stem from his past, his upbringing. Excuse me, the audio stopped recording. But yes, as I was saying, conditioning based on his upbringing, he could have felt that there could have been, something that really that put what's the word, a damper, or may have wounded his manhood, the way that he asserts himself. This is someone that can be easily triggered. You will not know the source of his triggers. hence the, the Mars in making an opposition to Uranus. That makes it something very volatile. It could be any little thing that could make him pop off. You wouldn't know why. He probably wouldn't know why, but it's just on site, on the spot. And seeing those clips and how he's had these different public altercations, just I wouldn't say unprovoked or barely provoked, because of course we're not there. We don't know what, because when it comes to, paparazzi, people in public, when they're celebrities, they can say some pretty wild things, but on a consistent basis, and even things that are reported to have happened behind closed doors, someone who's very volatile, and is ready to throw hands. And we also see his sun and moon making an opposition to Pluto in Scorpio. This is someone. Okay, some things that it makes me think of is when it comes to, his preference and standards. Perhaps this was something that was, that was, I don't want to say enforced at home, but, a lot of these values, a lot of our values, it stems from our upbringing, from our home, from our parental figures. So we could see that maybe there was some programming. There was possibly some programming where it's, hey, I only want to see you come around, with this type of person, with this type of girl that looks this type of way. It could have been, how his family was structured. I do not know anything about his upbringing, parents, family, anything like that, but I can only wonder and speculate that maybe, why it is the way that he is when it comes to the preferential drama. It could have been something where it's like, yeah, I don't want you to bring around this, people that look like this, girls that look like this, this is what's right, this is what's wrong, and that's the way it is. And being a Taurus, this is going to be someone who's very fixed in what they believe, fixed in their values. It does not matter what you say, what you do. It's not about to change. It is the way it is. What else are we looking at here? Yeah, so the same with the sun and moon in Taurus making a trine to Saturn and Neptune in Capricorn. This is someone who's going to stick with whatever it is that is the standard, the status quo. Standard and status quo is earth sign coded. The standards of Taurus, status quo Saturn, and Capricorn. Let's see what else. Yeah, so again, back to the Mars conjunct Chiron in Cancer, opposite to Uranus, and they're both making a square to Lilith in Libra. So we can see a lot of this volatility, especially playing out when it comes to his relationships, in social settings. That's why we see him just popping off on people, even in public, whoever it is. And the way that, that same volatility plays out in his relationships as well. What else do we see here? And yes, so honestly, and before I looked up his chart, I'm thinking he has to have some Gemini in his chart too, which is the Mercury in Gemini, and is making an in conjunct to Uranus in Capricorn. And I say that because of, him just throwing hands. Gemini rules the arms, and again with the quincunx pattern, He could probably say some really off the wall type of things to his partners, to people in general. Some really mean and uncalled for things. What else? Yeah, it could cause him to just, ooh, you know what that looks like? There was also a picture, I think it was with him and Karuchi, where he just had his hands around her neck. That's also Taurus as well. Taurus is the neck, Mercury. Talking about the hands, the arms around her neck. That's another way that's illustrating for us publicly to see. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be across the street from this individual. I wouldn't be in an open space. I wouldn't want to be in a closed space. Yeah, this is what I have to share for now. And I would love for some dialogue about the matter, about what your observations might be, as well as any suggestions. Again, I have quite a few other video reviews, not necessarily reviews, but just based on the content, like the person, the story that I do want to share. Until then, thank you. Toodles.